Hey, my name is Marilyn, and welcome back to my bookish group. Okay, so today I wanted to do a quick little recap of my January reading. I wanted to introduce you to my beautiful reading tracker journal for 2026, and I want to go ahead and make my February TBR. So it's kind of one big book video, kind of little transition situation. I'm really excited, and when I'm filming this, January's not over yet. We still have a week to go, but I think I'm pretty much done, and I'm really eager to make my February TBR. And I knew that when I made my TBR, I wanted to make a video for it, so here I am. Let's go ahead and just get started with the books that I have already read in January. Okay, so starting with the physical books that I read this month. The first one was The River Has Roots. This is by Amal El-Mokhtar, and this is one of the co-authors of This Is How You Lose the Time War, which was one of my favorite books of the year last year, also one of my favorite books of all time. And I kind of just decided that I wanted to read Amal's entire backlog. She has another book coming out this year as well, which I'm really excited for, but I read this and this was really good. It's a very tiny book, and it's just this kind of novella that follows these two sisters. They live on the border between the mortal realms and the fairy realm. And basically, they have this kind of family tradition where they sing to the willow trees. And I'm not entirely super clear anymore because I've read so much since then. But there's a reason that they do this. It's part of their culture. It's part of their kind of calling with their family. I'm not entirely sure about all of the specifics anymore. But the main point is that one of the sisters is falling in love with somebody from the Fae lands. It's a book that explores language and words and the power of change and just family ties, love, corruption in a way. There's just a lot in this, and it's such a short book that it's just kind of shocking that there's so much to it. It's really hard to explain, and because it's so short, it's kind of hard to put into words. Something that I really like about Amal's work is just the fact that she doesn't just give you the information, she makes you kind of work for it. So you might not understand what's going on right off the bat, but the more that you read, the more that you invest into the story, the more that you try, the more you understand it, and then the more that you enjoy it. So I do like it, and her writing is so pretty. The prose is just gorgeous. So I did like this a lot, and I believe I gave this 4 stars. Let me double check. Yes, I gave this 4 stars, and I think I stand by that. If I had to switch this rating and maybe go down a little bit, like a 3.75, just because after finishing it, I really did. I remember everything that happens in the story, but I'm forgetting little details. So I don't know, but I would stick this to a 4-star, I would say. Then I read Done and Dusted. Now, this was not something I was going to read at all. I had no intentions of reading this, but my friend read it. She had it on her shelves for a while, and she liked it, and I was just like, whatever. She wanted me to read it really bad. And I was like, dude, I don't think these little romances are for me. And then she was like, no, but it's really good. And I was like, you know what? At the very least, it's a cowboy romance, and I know it's spicy, so maybe. I read it and I did really enjoy it. I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to, and I'm excited to maybe continue it. It's one of those where it's they're so short and easy to read that I wouldn't mind when I'm feeling a lull to just pick one of these up. But yeah, so it was pretty good. I gave this one 4.25 stars. Now, I don't know why I gave it a 0.25. I think I'll just stick it with a 4-star. My ratings change a lot. After I give it a couple of days to just settle in my system, the real rating comes through. This is just a 4-star, I would say. If you don't know, this is part of the Rebel Blue Ranch series by Lila Sage, and this is the first one, and it just follows this, what is she? Rodeo girl or something. She barrel races. I'm not really sure. Something with horses. And she has this kind of accident, and so she comes home for the first time in many years, and she just has to kind of relearn how to ride horses. Cutting myself off because I explained this so wrong, but basically when she gets home, she realizes that the crush that she had on her brother's best friend when she was a little girl is still there, and he realizes that he actually has feelings for his best friend's little sister. Okay. So it was cute. It was fun. I enjoyed it. 4 stars. Then I read Of Mice and Men. This was my TBR clay pot pull, and I, again, This was exactly 100 pages. I don't even think it reached 100 pages. And that's why I didn't mind just going ahead and picking this up and just kind of like reading it all in one go. And I'm glad that I did because it was a really good story. It was very like emotional for me. And I did give this 5 stars. So this was my first 5-star of the year. I don't know if that's like a typical rating for this book, but I'll tell you why I kind of gave it 5 stars. So this book follows these 2 migrant workers. This is in like the 1930s, I believe. And basically they're just kind of going from farm to farm looking for work. Well, this one guy, George, he kind of ends up taking this other guy, Lenny, under his wing and just kind of protecting him because Lenny has some type of mental handicap where it's described as he has the mind of a child, and he's just this big, strong man, but he's very gentle and childlike in nature. And that combination gets him in a lot of trouble. So he has George that looks out for him, and George has kind of promised him this life of, if we just keep working and keep going and stay out of trouble, we'll get enough money. There's this ranch, we can buy it ourselves, and if we buy it, then we'll never have to work for anybody again. We'll be free to be we'll free to live however we want to live, but we just got to keep going. And so that's what this book is about. And at its core, this is a book about what having a dream and having a goal that you can work towards gives you, and that's like hope and a purpose, and it makes the darkest of situations have a light. But the book is also about what you do for those that you love, and friendship and kindness, and like, what you're willing to sacrifice for someone that you've grown to care about. And I think that's also really important. So with this being this tale of friendship, love, sacrifice, looking forward to more and demanding more for your life despite what station you're in, I thought it was really good. And that's why I gave it 5 stars. I recommend it. I did cry though. I did cry. Then the last one for physical TBR was, of course, Frankenstein. I've been reading this one since December. I was taking my time with it. As you can see, this one really, really impacted me. I had an excellent father. Sorry, I had to give Taylor a little shout out there. But I have my tabs in here. So yellow was for themes and observations, and themes could mean lots of things. So for themes, I meant, because I watched the Guillermo del Toro movie. So for themes, it was themes between this and the book, like things that I noticed that were kind of correlated with what happened in the movie. So that was one main thing. But then also the other thing with themes is like, if I saw it at the beginning of the book and then it's kind of like reiterated later on, like that's something I also meant. And also it was just themes and observations. So there were certain things that I like noticed, or that I was just like, oh, that's interesting. Not necessarily that it's a quote, but it was just like something that I found interesting to read. Green was quotes that I loved. And then red was the human experience and just things that are innate to like our experience as humans. Because I thought, again, this was written in the 1800s by a woman who was 18. So it's like, how much of the human experience is still very much what it was back then. And I chose those colors because those are the colors on the cover. So you have red, you have green, and then you have this kind of like pale, kind of yellowy situation here because I don't have white. So I gave Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, the 1818 text, infinity stars. I think this is kind of one of those untouchable books, and it's definitely going on my best of the best shelf. It is one of my favorite books now. I do understand it, and I understand the phenomenon of Frankenstein. And I will say, just while on the topic, because I know that the Guillermo del Toro adaptation got like some heat because it changed certain things from the book. Having now read the book, like I get it. Like I love the movie even more. And when I think back, because I have to rewatch the movie now that I finished the book, but like when I think back to the parts that were changed in the movie, and now that I've read the book, I'm almost like, yeah, you know what? Not only did he read the book, but he understood it, because the changes that were made, I felt enhanced the story. And they were also changes that I was like, while I was reading, I was like, gosh, I just wish, like, when is this gonna happen? Like, I wish this would happen. And it's like, it's almost like he took this source material. He was just like, what if it went this way? What if these slight things were changed, where the core of the story, the lessons of the story are all the same, but if we just do it in this just slightly different way to enhance the emotions. And I don't know how to explain that further, but it did. I just think it was really good, and I think it was a good adaptation. Now, I haven't seen any other Frankenstein adaptations, so whatever, but I think it was perfect, and I'm happy that I read this. I do highly recommend this, and honestly, even if you're not a tabbing person, you're gonna want to tab in this. I do actually want to read a quote from it, though. So this is actually the first thing I underlined in here was from the introduction. Read the introduction. Read the introduction. Okay, anyway, so the last line of the introduction said, by fearing the stranger, by abusing the vulnerable and the outcast, society creates its own monsters. That's so prevalent right now. And then another quote that I liked. Oh, this was a good one about like kind of going for things or not letting fear of failure kind of stop you. Whence, I often asked myself, did the principle of life proceed? It was a bold question, and one which has never been considered as a mystery. Yet with how many things are we upon the brink of becoming acquainted, if cowardice or carelessness did not restrain our inquiries? First of all, this book was also so beautifully written. So, yeah. Oh, okay. And then this one, I just liked the imagery of this quote a lot. So, he's in the throes of his obsession. Dr. Frankenstein is in the throes of his obsession. And he said, one secret which I alone possessed was the hope to which I had dedicated myself. And the moon gazed on my midnight labors, while with unrelaxed and breathless eagerness I pursued nature to her hiding places. Who shall conceive the horrors of my secret toil, as I dabbled among the unhallowed damps of the grave, or tortured the living animal to animate the lifeless clay? Now, everybody, let's just hold on a second, because I feel like I just read like a poem or like a spell. Bitch, that was so good. I'm sorry. That made me emotional again. That like boom, boom, woke me up, because holy shit, I just love that. First of all, one thing about me, I love when like something inanimate or like something that's not usually personified gets personified. Saying what was it? I pursued nature to her hiding places. Oh. Love that. That was really good. And then I dabbled among the unhallowed damps of the grave, or tortured the living animal to animate the lifeless clay. Bro. Nah, she slapped with that one. Anyway, so those are some good quotes in here, but I only read 2, I think. But anyway, I'm not going to read all of them, or this video is going to be forever long. There you go. But yeah, highly recommend Frankenstein. Read it. It'll change your life. Okay. And then as far as, so all of those except for Done and Dusted were on my set January TBR, which I made for the month, which, by the way, actually, let's go back and reiterate that. I should have done that first, but here we are. So my TBR for the month was Gathered Sparkle. We'll get to that. The River Has Roots, Never Lie, Frankenstein, 56 Days, Of Mice and Men, and the tandem read for Thread of Glass. So I got Frankenstein, Of Mice and Men, and The River Has Roots physical. And then 56 Days, so that's what I was going to get into. I just started that one, and there's a week left in January, so I do believe that I'm going to finish this book this month. It's the main one that I'm reading right now, and I have an audiobook for it. So I'm reading this in preparation for the TV show that's coming out. But I will more than likely unless I DNF it, I'm more than likely going to have this finished before January is over. But this is about these 2 people that decide to quarantine together after only knowing each other for a little while. And then 56 days later, a body is found decomposing in the apartment that they were quarantining together. So it's kind of this back and forth present past timeline where you're trying to figure out what the fuck happened. So far pretty good. I'm 20% in, pretty good. Cannot lie to you. So yeah, I'll probably have this finished, and then that's like all of the books that were on my physical TBR, and then I added Done and Dusted. Now, for my non-physical TBR, I've read quite a few books elsewhere. So for let's do my audiobooks. I audiobooked Never Lie, and I gave Never Lie, I think I gave it a 3.25 star. Never Lie is about this couple, this like married couple, newlyweds, and they go to this like showing for this house, but they get snowed in. There's a bad snowstorm. The realtor isn't even there, and the girl ends up like, she's looking for something to do, something to read, and she ends up finding these tapes. They piece together that this manor belonged to this like famous psychologist or psychotherapist or something, or no, psychologist, who mysteriously disappeared X amount of years ago. they find out they're in her house, and the girl finds the tapes that this psychologist like had secretly recorded all of her patients and all of her sessions, and she starts listening to it, and as she listens to it more and more and more, she kind of pieces together what might have happened to her. So that was a 3.25 star. It was not my favorite. I thought it was really long, drawn out. The ending was good, but it was like also I don't care. I didn't care about it by that point because everything else was so slow and boring. So it was fine. Maybe a 3 star. Now looking back, just a 3 star. The other audiobook, also, but this one was not on my TBR, was Phantasma. So that's a book that I can't believe I didn't put that on my TBR. Because actually that was part of my January TBR. I just didn't write it down. But it was part of my January TBR. Sorry about that. But so Phantasma, I audiobooked it, and that was a book that my friend had been wanting me to read. So, and it was good. It wasn't my favorite of the month, and I think I'll give it like a 4 star, maybe like 3.75 or 4 star. But yeah, so Phantasma was audiobooked, and then period. Those are all the audiobooks until I finish 56 Days, which I'm also audiobooking. Now for my Kindle books, my e-readers. So Gathered Sparkle by Blake Black. That's a book that I finished, and it's also a series I finished, or a duet, I guess. It's part of this Why Choose duet where she gets kind of recruited. She's a pickpocket, and she's a midnight ballerina who pickpockets. And she gets kind of recruited by these like twins in Las Vegas. They're magicians, and they're pulling off a heist to try and like expose this other person in Las Vegas who they think screwed them over. And it's very much the movie like Now You See Me, but make it Why Choose, and spicy as fuck. Popping in again because I didn't explain this, but the relationship is between her, one of the twins, and then like 3 of the twins' friends and that are also part of this heist thing. Okay. It was really good. I did think the second book was a little too long, but it was very good. I loved it. And the series as a whole, or like the duet as a whole, is getting like a 4 star. So I really did enjoy that. Then I started the Memento Vivere duet by the same author, Blake Black, and that is Brittle Heart and Tough Soul. And I did finish that, so it was my second duet finished of the year. That combined for a 4 star read. I liked that one. It was super fast paced. Basically, what was her deal? Oh, she she gets an internship at the NYPD to be in their like forensics lab or something like that. And while there, she befriends these 2 cops, and they kind of find out that she's not in the best situation at home. She's like an adult, but her little sister's still a minor, and they are kind of forced to live with their uncle who's like super abusive and super toxic and horrible. And her parents were killed in a car accident several years prior, and it was kind of a weird situation. And she's never believed the story that her parents were, killed because they were on drugs. She was like, my parents didn't do that, so that's not right. And so that's why she got into this whole forensics thing. She wanted to get to the bottom of like what actually happened to her parents. So she gets this opportunity to intern there. She befriends these cops, and anyway, they kind of just like, they're very interested in her. And also one of them, he has a boyfriend, and his boyfriend's a tattoo artist. So it's MMFM. Yes, very good. Then I read Ensnared, and that starts the Brutes of Bristol Brook series, which is a post-apocalyptic world has kind of low-key ended dark Why Choose romance. Hey, I'm a Why Choose girly. What's up? So she's been living on her own for X amount of time, like in a cave since the apocalypse. And the apocalypse is just like there was some whack-ass war that nobody was ready for. And so like they have no idea what the rest of the world looks like, but the US is shit. The US is crapped out. No government, no police. Everyone's just kind of, it's lawless land. So there's entire cities that have been taken over by like militias and things like that. Just people that have survived and then decided they're going to be evil for whatever reason. And she's been surviving in a cave. And so one day this group of men is like trying to hunt her down, and it's really bad. There's like she describes like there's no women left. Like there's literally all the women have been captured, and it's like a really bad, horrible thing. And she doesn't know that. She's just assuming she hasn't seen women in like years. And so she's like, they can't catch me. And so she goes she's like running, and then bumps into these ex-rangers, army rangers, military rangers, and they save her life. And it turns out they have this crazy decked out mansion they've been living in that still has running water, electricity, and all the things. And they have like literally an endless supply of food. Anyway, let's not think too deeply into it. They kind of exchange favors in order for her to stay there. So anyway, the first book was really good. I'm in the middle of the second book right now, and I'm trying really hard not to DNF because it is super slow and I need it to speed up. But there's only 3 books, and I think I'm going to power through. But I did read Ensnared. All right. So I am at 10 books this month. And soon to be 11 when I finish 56 days. All right. So 10 books read. I'm on the 11th, and I think that's going to be the last book I read this month, unless I somehow finish Entangled, which is the second book in the Brutes of Bristol Brook series. So we'll see. Oh yeah, I didn't even touch the tandem read this month. Sorry, did not touch it. Don't want to. I'm not in the mood for it. I'm really not. All right, and now I'm going to show you my reading tracker journal. So this right here is my cover page. So Maryland's 2026 reading journal. And it's giving that very, kind of like academia Y2K kind of fun little thing, which is very much my vibe. Then I have my reading log. This wasn't my favorite page. It's still not, but it's like, it's good. So I haven't added Phantasma yet, but I will do that because I just finished that today. So I have space here for 102 books, which my reading goal last year, I don't remember, it was 34 or something. I ended up reading 101 books-ish. So I just did however many boxes I could with what I was doing, with like the space I left for myself, but it ended up working out because that's pretty much exactly what I wanted to do. Then this is my bookshelf page, so I also need to update this with Phantasma and all that stuff. So this is my key right here. So the genres I have are fantasy, sci-fi, magical realism, general fiction, literary fiction, historical fiction, romance, dark romance, mystery, and thriller. I didn't include nonfiction, my bad. If I read nonfiction, I'll add it. But this is my little bookshelf right here. It's super duper cute, and I have space if I need to make more. But there is 102 books right there, so it should be fine. Also, I just love this spread. Okay, then this is my series tracker right here. So these are the series that, like, what's green is what I started in 2025 or just prior to 2026. And then I have some that I need to start and then ones that I've added. So I have all of this space to add more. And then this is my key. So I decided to do my key with just like the months. So there's a different color for every month. So I can just see which ones I read and how I finished it throughout the year. So that's that one. Then I have, this is my DNF. So it's like stones in a lake or stones in a river. And I drew that, so I'm proud of myself. But I put, she merely went on with life, demanding something different beyond the purple skies. Bitch, yeah. And then I have the sticker down here that says, forgive me for all the things I did, but mostly for the ones I did not, like, because I didn't finish the book. And then on this side, it's like the same lake, but during golden hour. And then those are all of the lily pads. So the books, these are my 6 stars. So DNFs and then my 6-star reads, which just are books that exceeded 5 stars. They're like my new all-time favorites. They're not just a 5-star read because they were good. They're more than a 5-star read because they changed my life. And I know some people have an issue with that rating system. I really don't care. Then I have my book bracket. So this is very much like princess vibes. And then I have an MMC FMC bracket. So my favorite, every couple of months, I'll pick an MMC to put here, FMC to put here. They don't have to be from the same series, but we'll just see how that kind of goes. And then at the end of the year, I'll have a little Franken couple from different books. Then I do have a writing tracker. So this is just tracking my writing for the year with some goals. I love this page. I'm clearly not doing well in January though. And then this is my first draft loading page. So I'm going to have like some milestones because I would like to have a first draft finished this year of my novel, but we will see. Then we have a book bingo. So I made this page kind of like a gallery wallpaper pretty thing here. And then this is my bingo on this side. And I'm just coloring it in different colors that are on the page, more or less. And then these are like frame stickers, but as I read the book and as they fill these, I will print them out. These all are like the books, but they have like frames printed with them. So eventually at the end of the year, it'll just be one big bookish gallery wall. And I still have some to print for that. Then I have my rainbow challenge. It's very Care Bears themed. And then I have my 50 states challenge. So I did this kind of like a little passport situation. So I have the 50 states. You start here in your little car. And there's just these little trinkets for each of the states. Not each of them, but just like whatever I could find that represents a state. And then you go over here, the 50 state challenge. and now you're flying, because you have to fly to some of these states, right? So now you're flying, and here are the rest, and you end up in this pretty little beach with all your books. Okay, and then we get to my January spread. So this is like an industrial loft type thing. These are supposed to be light fixtures. And so I have my TBR here that I set for the month. And then I'll have down here, these are my reads. So I don't know how I'm going to fit the books, but I will do my best. And then I have like my TBR. So I had 7 set. How many of the 7 did I get to? And then how many did I add? And then this is the fun part. This is my statistics page. Now, some of these things are going to change for February. This is obviously a test run, first of the year. So I try to match this aesthetically a little bit to the beginning, but I have statistics. I have a reading challenge each month. Did I complete it or not? I have like how many books read, how many books DNF'd, how many books were 5 stars, how many books did I buddy read. I have a traveling book club, so how many books for those, and I have space to write them as well. And then I have a different book club that's like usually thrillers, but whatever, and we don't do that one super often, so I have that one there. Then I have this little audiobook, physical, and ebook chart to see how many of each. On my reads page, I will put like what I did next to the book. I can like tell which one it was. Then I have a spot for books purchased. And then at the bottom of the page, there's my favorite and my least favorite. Then moving on, I have my ratings tracker here as well. This is more just like a visual. And then I will take my average rating from my actual ratings, because I do the 0.5s, 0.25s, and all that stuff. And then I did include one here for Infinity, so I will change that for February as well. Then I have my writing challenge for the month, and if I completed that or not. I'm not doing well. Then I have days spent writing, first draft, word count, tough. And then I have this reflections part here with my favorite memory of the month and something that I am looking forward to. So I also just made my February spread, so I'll go ahead and show you that. But this is my February spread. I haven't made my TBR. We're going to do that now. Okay. So yes, that is my 2026 reading tracker journal. I hope you enjoyed that. Now for the whole reason that I sat down and did this entire video at midnight on a Monday. My February TBR. I'm so excited to do this. Okay. I'm really, really excited. Let's get started picking our books. The first book on the TBR is going to be The Book of Blood and Roses. I've already started this book, and I'm doing my darndest not to finish it in January because I want to consume this so fast. But no, I will finish 56 days. That way I can finish a TBR. Oh my gosh, I really hope the audio has not sucked ass because I forgot I was using a microphone. Forgive me. Forgive me. But anyway, so The Book of Blood and Roses is so good so far. I am loving it. It is a sapphic vampire, ex-vampire hunter academy, vampire academy setting, gothic. Oh, it's so good. And it's set in Ireland, I believe, or Scotland. I think it's Ireland. Scotland? Anyway, Scotland, Scottish Highlands. Yep, Scotland. But it's so good. It reminds me so much of like that 2010s teen TV show feeling. This is so a mix of like vampire hunters, vampire, what is that called? Vampire Diaries. It's a mix of Vampire Diaries, Shadow Hunters, and like Teen Wolf. Like I don't know how else to explain it. It's just really good. So yeah, Book of Blood and Roses. I really want to finish that in February. I'm obsessed with it. Next is going to be When We Were Brilliant by Lynn Cullen. So this is a historical fiction, it's historical fiction because a lot of the events in this happened, but it's still fiction because it can't be confirmed, like dialogue and all that stuff. But this is about the relationship between Marilyn Monroe and one of her photographers, Eve Arnold. Hi, by the way, my name is Marilyn. So this is going to check off one of my bingo squares of reading a book with the character sharing my name. But anyway, Eve was one of the only people that ever captured who Marilyn really was deep down and not just the picture she presented for the world. So I am very excited. I hope I enjoy it, but that is definitely going on the TBR. And now for the fun part. We're bringing out the clay pot. The clay pot. This is, people have TBR jars. I have a TBR clay pot. So we're going to pick from here, which is going to be exciting because there's another booktuber that I follow and I really like, Sarah Freshly from Freshly Read Books. And she does the TBR spin challenge. And this is my first year participating in it. And I'm already breaking the rules, but it's fine. So basically, I would go check out her videos so you can kind of have an understanding of like what the challenge entails. But just to give you a quick little blurb. You're supposed to pick 12 books from, I think, your physical TBR that you've been meaning to read. And then every month she spins a wheel, picks a prompt, and then you have to pick a book from your list to read that month that fits that prompt. I'm doing it a bit differently because I'm just doing it for my whole physical TBR because I want to read all of it. The prompt for February is a book from an author you haven't read before, with the caveat of, if you have too many to pick from, which I think I do, then an author you can't believe you haven't read yet, which I have in mind. One, Rachel Gillig. I can't believe I haven't read anything by Rachel Gillig. I own all of the books that she has published. So crazy. And I really wanted to read One Dark Window and also The Night and the Moth. But I've been wanting to read One Dark Window longer than I've been wanting to read The Night and the Moth. So I'm thinking it's going to be One Dark Window, but we're going to pick from our TBR clay pot and see if we get something that also fits for the challenge. And if not, then I'll just still utilize what I pick from here for my TBR and then probably use One Dark Window for February. So let's see. Okay, this is promising. It's a fantasy. Oh! Well, that works. I'm a little bummed, though. But that works. Okay, that's not bad at all. I actually might need that. Okay. So I pulled Automatic Noodle. I'll show it to you. You can't read it, probably. But Automatic Noodle. And this is a new author to me. So that works really well for my February TBR, honestly. For my February TBR spin pick. Do I want to count it if I got it in December of last year? Probably yes. I think it'd be good to have a short book on the TBR. Just something quick and easy. And I have been wanting to read this. It looks really cool. So basically, it's kind of like post-apocalyptic America after some war. But it's like one of those like retro futuristic societies where robots have been created and they're pretty sentient, but they're like the funky looking robots, they all look cool. I love those. And essentially they awake after, I guess, being shut down or whatever. This group of them reawakes inside of a noodle shop in San Francisco. And so they just start making noodles for the remaining survivors in San Francisco. And I don't know, but it just sounded really cute and I really like it. I got this while I was in New York. I haven't stopped thinking about this book since I bought it because our town has this like initiative for artists where they can get one of those like electrical boxes that you see around town and they can paint it. And a new one just was painted in my town and it's literally robots that look just like this. And it's literally the colors of this book. So every time I pass it, I think about this book. So it's about, I think this would be a great read. Oh, that's so exciting. I love that. Okay, so Automatic Noodle. So that brings us to 3 books on the TBR. Oh, and the tandem read is still on the TBR. So we technically still have, last month I had 7, including the tandem read as 1 book. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 right now. So let's just keep picking and see what else we get. If anything, though, I might swap out. If I don't like one of the things that I pick from here, like I really don't like it, I really don't want to read it, then I can swap it out for a book that I'm thinking that I want to read. Although, we'll see. Okay. Boom. Okay, green is like literary fiction, just kind of general fiction. No. I need to get rid of this book, actually. I'm glad I established that rule before I picked. But I picked Librarian of Auschwitz. Guys, I can't read about the Holocaust right now. Not with everything that's happening in the United States. I can't do it. Sorry, that's not happening. Okay, so I'll swap that one. I'm just gonna pull another from the TBR clay pot. I think it's just more fun that way. All right, let's see. Oh, fuck. Another fantasy. Uh-oh. Oh no. I pulled Shields of Sparrow or Shields and Sparrow or something, whatever it's called. What is it? Shields? Yeah, Shield of Sparrows. Let's read what it's about. If you're not terrified, you're doing it wrong. Long ago, the gods unleashed monsters upon the 5 kingdoms of Calandra to remind us that humans are insignificant, that we must pray to the gods for mercy throughout our fragile, fleeting lives. I didn't need a deity to remind me I was powerless. Being a princess had never been more than a performance. 23 years of empty titles and hollow traditions. My sister revels in the spectacle, basking in the attention and flawlessly playing her part. I was never asked to be part of the charade. Until the day an infamous monster hunter sailed to our shores. The day a prince walked into my father's throne room and ruined my life. The day I married a stranger, signed a magical treaty in blood, and set off across the continent to the most treacherous kingdom in all the realm. That was the day I learned that not all myths are make-believes, that lies and legends are often the same, and that the only way to kill the monsters we fear was to become one. Let's bench this one for now. I understand that the whole point of a TBR pot is to read something that you weren't expecting to read. However, and I've heard it's really good. However, I just don't know if I'm excited to read it, which is the whole point, of course. But I'm going to pull one more out of that. So I've already said no to Librarian of Auschwitz, and I'm on the fence of my second pull. So here's what I'm going to do. If I pull, I'm going to pull one more. And if I don't like that one more than Shield of Sparrows, then I'll read Shield of Sparrows. But if I like that one more than Shield of Sparrows, then I will read that one. Okay. All right. This one's for all the marbles. And by marbles, I do mean mine. I got The Night and the Moth. Okay, I'm flipping it. Thank you for playing. So no to Shield of Sparrows, but yes to The Night and the Moth, which is good because I've been meaning to read that one. Sorry. Unfortunately, I forgot something. For February, since it's like the month of love and all that, I was going to try to read another romance novel. And I was going to try to read Mile High because it's been on my TBR for a long time and I need to read it. So I'm going to go ahead and add Mile High to it. I forgot about that. I am going to add this and that'll be like my little, contemp romance read. So let's go through it. The Book of Blood and Roses, When We Were Brilliant, Automatic Noodle, The Night and the Moth, and the tandem read. And then I'll add for my ebook is Brutes of Bristol Brook. Now, I don't know if that's going to be, I don't know if I'm going to finish book 2 this month or if I'm just going to let that be for next month. So it'll just be it'll be that I'll finish the series. So I'm going to count that as 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So 7 books for the TBR. Just like last month. Yay! I think we have a good mix of genres here. If you have enjoyed this video, then please consider subscribing. And yeah, if you've read any of these books, please let me know. And if you read any from my January wrap up, then let me know what you thought. But yes, okay, well, thank you so much. I'll see you next time. And don't forget to stay groovy. Bye.